Hi, everybody, and welcome to Tuesday Talks with Wendy. It is Tuesday, it is March 10th, and we are ramping up for so many wonderful things. I'm hoping that everybody was able to really participate or at least, get some really wonderful International Women's Day celebrations in. I mean, even if you were just to hang out with your most beautiful women friends, or even for our gentlemen friends, just to have that balance within our lives, but just really taking in the essence of who and what we are as beautiful, strong, independent, motivated, loving, caring, wonderful, wonderful women that are out there nowadays. I spent a weekend going from two different conferences, one for business women, another one for inspiring women up in the north. And it was one of the, very wonderful, exciting things that I love to do, but unfortunately it tends to drain me. So I look a little disheveled today. I might be a little bit off, so I apologize for that. But my energy and my heart is with you guys, and I'm here to offer as much as I can. I met some incredible, incredible, incredible women of all different kinds of modalities, naturopathic doctors, energy healers, the grandmothers from our native tradition, and learned so, so much. It was just an amazing, amazing weekend. And if you ever get a chance to partake on something like this, I highly encourage it, because it is something that, as a woman, we are striving to return to our balance, return to our essence and our power as well, and understanding exactly how powerful we are as women. That is so very important as we move forward in this world. I'm not going to get on my soapbox with regards to this, but it is something that is very, very important for you to really bring home, bring into that essence of who you are and where we've come from and where we're actually going as women. So, yay. And if you ever need to talk or want to discuss anything with regards to that, look at that, I'm crying already. I just can't get out away from it. Please reach out, because I am here for you as a woman, for my fellow women, um, and gentlemen as well, because like we have to have that balance in our lives. We have to have that yin and that yang. We have to have that cohesiveness, because we are all hormonally women and men, the feminine, the masculine within all of us. So um, always having that balance is a wonderful, wonderful way to proceed into the world. Totally off subject again. Anyways, today we're talking about high estrogen levels for women and how they can be a little bit disrupting. Hormones, I'll say right at the beginning, are not my expertise area, but because I do have a lot of clients that do come to me with hormonal issues, I am forever diving into and learning more and more about it, especially when it comes to my weight loss program, and my clients that come into my weight loss program, the New You, Breaking the Vicious Cycle. A lot of Unfortunately, a lot of situations that we have, because a lot of my women and clients in this program tend to be 40 plus. They tend to have all of a sudden gained a little bit or a lot of weight, and not understanding the process. And sometimes, unfortunately, it has nothing to do with what we're eating. It has nothing to do with everything that's going around us. And it has a lot to do with stuff that we have no control over, or that we think we have no control over. And a lot of it has to do with a disruption of hormones in our body. And Unfortunately, hormones rule us either way. And when there's a disruption in our estrogen levels, it becomes quite a big problem for women as we get older, going into our perimenopausal and menopausal years. And we find that it becomes very, very difficult to just be the woman that we once were. It's hard to, we kind of almost look at ourselves in the mirror and not even recognize ourselves because we've either gained a lot of weight, we have skin issues, we have graying hair and wrinkles, and we just don't recognize that image that we see of ourselves anymore. We just don't feel like ourselves anymore, and it can be very disrupting to our lives because this is the time of our lives that we really want to allow ourselves to expand and grow. Our children are kind of, out the door already and, starting to live their lives. Um, we are, hopefully we're not diving into having to look after our parents yet, but, we're really focused in on who and what we are as women. We really are attuned to what's going on with our health, with our lives, with our careers, our relationships, our sex lives. Everything is very, very much in tune and sort of like upfront and in our lives right now. We're not focused in on our children right now. We are taking the time to be and finally uh, come into our own at this point in our lives. So this is something that, unfortunately, like I said, when we look in the mirror, we are finding that we are just kind of lost, disconnected from ourselves, and we just don't know where and what to do. And unfortunately, like I said, it has nothing to do with you as a person so much as it has to do with our hormonal issues. So, like I said, this is a very, very common thing. And when we are looking at our estrogen levels, unfortunately, it tends to be a situation where we are more estrogen dominant, as opposed to when we go into our menopausal years. That is essentially a drop in estrogen, but unfortunately, we end up having an estrogen dominance because of so many different um, endocrine disrupting chemicals in our world that has left us on the edge of just total hormonal soup craziness going on in our bodies. And we really, it's really, really hard to manage that because often we get a lot of these EDCs, these endocrine disrupting chemicals. They come into our world with without any taste or any smell or any kind of indication that they're there. And we take them in on a daily basis, and it can be very, very difficult. Um, and you really want to know that, when we have so many different things going on in our lives right now, that it can really have that ebb and flow of these hormonal disruptions going on in our system that can be very much uh, on a daily basis be very disrupting, but over a lifespan or over several year period can be, very detrimental. So some of the causes of estrogen dominance, well, first of all, it's our industrial pollutants. Nearly all kinds of estrogen mimicking properties, including that BPA. So we all know that we want to go towards a glass product or definitely a plastic product that has BPA free. These flame retardant chemicals, pesticides, herbicides, and parabens. Many foods actually contain phytoestrogens that are very disruptive as well, like isoflavones, which actually do serve a purpose but can actually overwhelm the body's hormonal stores. Foods like soy, and I'm going to get into that a little bit later. Others like legumes, alcohol, especially beer that contains hops, refined sugars, simple carbs, especially those that are derived from grains. So you're talking your white products, basically, or processed grains. Sorry, carbs that are especially coming from your processed grains are going to be, very disrupting to our hormones. And conventional meat and dairy products that are contain growth and growth hormones and antibiotics are all these ones that I'm sure we've all heard about on one level or another. But these are things that, when you're really stressing and trying to figure out some answers, these are where we would like to go towards. Stress, unfortunately, is another big factor that is linked with estrogen dominance, and one that really actually affects men and women in that respect. It's a common misconception that our bodies are only limited to the potential of our reluctance to push them to our max. So, um, a lot of people actually that are training a lot harder, like bodybuilding and different things like that, when we push ourselves too hard, we're actually putting our bodies into a stressful situation as well. So that can really boost up our estrogen levels and cause us to sit in that estrogen dominant situation and not be able to reduce any kind of extra weight that we might have been putting on because of estrogen dominance. The thing is, though, too, when you mix that extra stress, either through emotional stress, physical stress, and you mix it with everything else that comes along with it, like I was saying, the poor diet, the added chemicals, the alcohol, the soy, the legumes, the isoflavones, and all the chemicals and pesticides that are out there that we can't see and always be aware of. When you mix that all together, you are getting a bad combination of so many different things that is just leaving you with the result of this estrogen dominance. And especially women of a certain age, well, pretty much all women, we tend to be go, go, go all the time. And this mode actually stresses our adrenal glands because they get overworked, because we are so much in that sympathetic nervous system, we're in that flight or fight situation all the time. And when our adrenal glands get too stressed out or overworked, they can no longer produce enough progesterone in relation to estrogen. So when we're looking at our progesterone and our estrogen, it kind of goes like a seesaw kind of situation where usually you'll have one that's a little bit higher than the other, and they kind of seesaw back and forth. But usually if there's a situation with the adrenals, um, the adrenals are trying to pump out the cortisol because we're always in that fight or flight situation, that fight or flight hormone, that's cortisol. And if we're pumping that out all the time, it throws off that progesterone and estrogen balance. And it really, sways in the favor of the the estrogen. And then, of course, when our adrenals are overworked, it's not able to do the job it's able to do to lower and keep everything balanced. And we have uh, that estrogen increase as a result. So when we get into that kind of situation, we're looking at more of an adrenal fatigue or adrenal burnout. And the symptoms that go along with that can be quite similar to estrogen dominance as well. So not getting enough rest can actually cause or contribute to estrogen dominance. Irregular sleeping patterns and lack of sleep directly inhibit a woman's body from recharging those hormone stores. So inadequate sleep is one of those negative things that really is so very important. And it affects the production of melatonin, which is that hormone that we need to really help sleep, and a hormone that actually protects the body against estrogen dominance as well. So if we're not sleeping enough, we are having difficulties with that estrogen getting up there a little bit too much as well. So symptoms of high estrogen levels, a woman's estrogen dominance can make you, if you are estrogen dominant, you can actually feel very tired, very moody, and sexually dormant. So your libido is really kind of almost crashed. But at the same time, this could be a part of everything else that's going on in your life. Um, Essentially, an estrogen dominant woman will no longer feel like herself. But at the same time, if you have too much estrogen, or sorry, it's not enough estrogen, you're going to feel that way too. So it's a matter of really determining um, whether you are estrogen dominant or lacking estrogen. So if you're lacking estrogen going into that menopausal state, it's really understanding that it's about balance either way, and understanding that you're going to feel the same on either end. You may actually have troubles digesting your food, for instance, or you may have a harder time sleeping, or actually even trying to stay awake. So it could be either or. I mean, it's not just one set of symptoms. You may no longer feel like exercising, or even associating with friends, or in social situations like that as well too. So understanding all these different symptoms that are going on, again, it's not you. It's potentially a lack of estrogen or a dominance of estrogen. Symptoms of overall high estrogen levels in a woman more tend to be many of the same signs as men experience in their bodies as well, that have too much estrogen. So understanding that while men don't go through something along the lines of a menopause, men do have hormones. I mean, that goes without saying. But if they have too much estrogen in their bodies, they will experience the same types of experiences as well. And things like loss of drive, both sexually and in their daily life, difficulty concentrating, irritability, chronic fatigue. Like, we have to put up with more stuff. But if our spouses are kind of giving these kinds of situations out there, then perhaps understanding that their hormones are probably going through a little bit at the same time could be quite helpful in understanding to work on together perhaps. Estrogen dominance tends to manifest physically as increased body fat, especially around a woman's midsection, along with corresponding loss of muscle mass. So if you're wondering why all of a sudden you've been putting on a little bit more weight and you're having a harder time releasing it, and you're all of a sudden you're working out has just kind of gone away, you have loss of muscle mass, then you are probably looking at an estrogen dominant situation. Um, uh, it is, you know, for the women that are kind of uh, going in through perimenopause, or like even if it's in your early 40s or late 30s, something along the lines of understanding that you may be having irregular periods, hair loss, headaches, you feel colder than normal in your extremities. These are all different ways that hormonal imbalance will actually manifest in the body as well. So for women, you may even notice some breast issues that are a little bit different. So developing a sensitivity or a swelling, some mysterious lumps that, that would lead towards more of a cystic breast situation. These can be all very much addressed very readily, and symptoms that can be uh, checked off your list anyways when you're looking at some hormonal disruptions as well. So there are, I want to say simple, but again, it's not that simple. It is difficult for people to change their ways, to really, that motivation to change, that drive to change. But there is ways that we can really balance out our hormones without going towards medication or conventional medicine, and ways that you can really implement into your life starting today. I have 7 on a list here, so I'm going to actually put those in the comments so you can see them very quickly. So you don't have to write them down, but I'm just going to through them very quickly. And these will actually help to support your hormones, to balance them out, and really keep them nicely balanced throughout a period of time when a lot of women go through a lot of disrupting issues, even without all the extra chemicals and different things that are disrupting us from a daily basis, but really doing the best that we can with what we're working with. But when you have knowledge, you have more power. So being able to really take control of your hormones, not allowing them to rule your life, because this is your body and your essence and um, your machine that you can work with. So when you have more knowledge about how to work with your body and understand your body and work with your body, you'll be able to have a more stable and better understanding, and better health as a result. So going towards these helpful tips to really avoid estrogen dominance and really bring some balance to your estrogen as well, to help you um, come away from it and be the person that you want to be. So you're going to want to really clean up everything in your household with regards to um, chemical products. You're gonna want to get rid of them. You're gonna look towards anything like your cleaning sprays, your hand soaps, your laundry detergents, your soaps, your shampoos, your conditioners, body washes, air fresheners, everything that is chemically based. So, and you want to stay away from anything that has chemical fragrances or other toxins or synthetic chemicals. And you really want to start being very conscious of what goes on around you and on your body and is in your environment on a regular basis. And this is where we're looking towards more natural products. This is why something like essential oils is so very popular right now. It's not just a fad. It's a thing that you really have to really start working towards to get artificial chemicals out of your body, out of your system, out of your world, just for those uh, disrupting chemicals that are really throwing all your hormones off. You're going to want to go towards a more clean cleaning products, a vinegar, a water base, um, uh, really, really just getting away from all the bad chemicals that are out there. I don't have a list of them in front of me. Most of them I can't even pronounce, so I'm not even going to try it. But this is really something that you really want to keep a very conscious watch on and really begin to change as I'm not a big person on waste product, but be very aware of it. I don't want you to go and just throw everything out unless you really want to. Use what you have, and the next time you go to buy something that has no parabens, has no chemicals, has no I don't, like I said, I don't have a list in front of me to tell you exactly all the chemicals, but you want to stick. Well, actually, let me just take a second to check. I'll get a list here. Let's see here. Um, Synthetic fragrances. There's a stabilizer in them. Sulfactants. Like I said, I can't pronounce a lot of these. Sodium lauryl sulfate. Uh, Diethylalamanine, benzene, petroleum distills, like I said, bleach, phosphates, optical whiteners. So, my goodness, so many different things. Like I said, I can't pronounce a lot of them anyways, so that's why I'm not going to say them. But anyways, so the next tip for really helping to balance out your estrogens is really just to um, be aware of your stress levels and really work on bringing them down. Chronic stress actually puts the body into that emergency overdrive that zaps the hormones that you need for life and health and replacing them with hormones that you need for survival. So that's that fight or flight, um, cortisol, adrenal fatigue situation over balanced hormones. So you want to really begin to bring some awareness and some consciousness to your day. Incorporate some deep breathing exercises, even just a heavy sigh and allowing that release, and understanding to lower the the shoulders, release the tension in your neck, release the anxiety, the worry. It doesn't mean that you have to sit for 20 minutes in lotus position. It just means whatever allows you to release that stress of the day, sitting outside when the weather gets a little bit nicer, in the quiet, away from your phone, away from electronics, away from all these different things. I think, actually, now that I say electronics, one of the things that I'm not really mentioning in this, and this is actually going to be my eighth one, is electromagnetic frequencies, which is having a crazy time with our hormones. Now that we are actually setting up to send satellites up into the world, into our atmosphere, that is going to throw down the 5G on everybody without us even having a say in it. This 5G electromagnetic frequencies are going to wreak havoc on everybody. And this is something that is just something that we really have to be aware of. And hopefully we can put a stop to it before it really becomes beyond our own control. So, um, like I said, stress is another one. So first one was really looking at cleaning up our household products, all the chemicals that are in our homes, and all the beauty products that we have, uh, stressing less. Looking at all your EMFs that you have around you, beyond the 5G, putting this thing up to your head like this on a daily basis, several times a day for any length of time, is extremely detrimental. If you give me 1 second to indulge me. Let's see if I have the paper here. No, I don't. Oh, maybe I do. Okay. I don't know if you can see this or not. See this? This is the EMFs that go into your head with a cell phone, radiation absorption from a cell phone into the human head. And this was actually from the year 2000. I don't know what the stats are. Maybe I shouldn't even say it, but the increased stats of brain tumors since the use of cell phones has grown exponentially because of stuff like this. That's EMFs, that's the electromagnetic frequencies that are going into the brain. And as our phones and as our electronics get stronger and stronger, we are absorbing that electromagnetic frequency into our system constantly. And it is disrupting our hormones. It is disrupting our whole chemical makeup. It's disrupting our metabolism. It's disrupting everything within us. And these are things that you have to be aware of. So while we're doing all of this as well, we want to really look out for our liver. So we want to really understand that endocrine disrupting toxins really put a stress on our liver as well. So we want to always be incorporating foods that are going to really help to support our liver. But we also want to incorporate a regular detoxification of our liver as well. Well, from time to time anyways. I mean, hopefully you are going through a seasonal detox, which will be very beneficial, but incorporating some detoxification specifically for the liver is very important to do, maybe twice a year, depending upon how much you have going on around you, depending upon how bad your digestion is or your food intake is, depending upon how much stress you have in your life, depending upon how much EMFs you take in, depending upon how much chemicals you take in or around. And you really want to again allow the liver to rest, and you want to support it and really allow it to do the job that it can do. Because like I said in the beginning, um, uh, our liver and our bodies are miraculous machines. And once we begin to learn how it works properly, and then we support how it works, it will do the best job it can do. The body itself can heal itself. That's what it's designed to do. So, but we just have to allow it to heal itself by offering the proper foods, by offering the proper environment, by, not um, over toxifying it with the crazy amount of toxins that we have out in there in our world right now. So we really want to allow it to do and be the best that it can be. Detoxifying the liver can be as simple as um, incorporating some milk thistle into our system from time to time, not ongoing, because you just don't want to do that all the time, but allowing the body to rest and rejuvenate and do the work that it wants to do. Especially if you happen to drink a lot of alcohol, your body is working too hard. It can't do the job that it wants to do. And when you drink a lot of alcohol, okay, well, but you're also taking in all these different toxins. You're also probably eating not that right. You probably high stress levels, probably not sleeping properly, all these other things that are going on as well that are going to really not allow the body to detoxify. First of all, the toxins. The toxins are going to disrupt our hormone levels, and we are going to be in that estrogen dominant situation again. You're going to want to eat. So this is the fifth um, tip I have for you. Plenty of fiber, especially insoluble fiber. And this is a big one for women on so many different levels. I'm not even going to step into the whole cancer realm when it comes to insoluble fiber. But for women, it is so very important because insoluble fiber will bind with that extra estrogen in the digestive tract and expel it. You'll poop it out. That's as easy as it is. Okay. So making sure that you have that extra insoluble fiber. I know a lot of people that have constipation issues, have digestive issues, have all these issues with their gut. And what do? They go towards chemical stimulant, say like a Dulcolax or Biscadil, or they go towards a Restoralax because it goes so nicely in the water and everything else. Um, what I'm saying, if you're going to go towards that route, go towards a Metamucil. Metamucil is basically just psyllium fiber, which you can pick up at the bulk store, and you try to look for something that has no sugar or anything in it, and that's an insoluble fiber. If you're bringing and eating the right foods, you're going to be able to really have a lot of insoluble fiber in your diet. So as simple as something like an apple. Keep the peel on. That's your insoluble fiber. There's going to be different components in the apple itself. The pectin, all these different things are going to be not digested. That's what it means, not insoluble. It's going to bind with everything and help you release it out of your system. You're going to want to actually look towards organic and certified pesticide and herbicide free products as well, because this is going to be really helpful with regards to just taking in less of the bad stuff and still taking in the good stuff. You're going to want to stick with grass-fed, pasteurized meats and dairy products, because again, you're looking towards less chemicals, less processing, less hormones and additives within plain store-bought stuff. And you're also going to want to avoid excess carbs and sugar as well. So I think that goes without saying. But it's especially true for our estrogen dominant women. So you're going to really want to look at skipping the soy. So going that step further with our food intake. I know soy has been touted as being one of those health foods, but you really want to understand that soy works, especially genetically modified soy, which is pretty much all soy, can really be detrimental to that hormone imbalance in our body, because it is actually um, doused with estrogenic chemicals like Roundup. So when they spraying it with chemicals, and it's really really, really hard, as well as the fact that it's genetically modified. Um, it, it just really disrupts everything that's going on in your body with as far as our hormones. Traditionally, fermented soy products made with non-GMO soy are generally considered okay, but in small quantities, okay? So really look and understand what's going on and making sure that you're getting fermented soy products. Fermented soy products would be along the lines of miso. Um, um, Sorry, my brain's gone blank. um, Soy sauce, different things like this. This is going to be very much fermented soy products, but miso is the first one that comes to my mind. Um, I'm sure I'll think of others later. You're going to want to try to keep moving. This is going to really, really help with our estrogen dominance as well. And because it really helps to boost that human growth hormone, the HGH, which neutralizes and expels that excess estrogen and other toxins from the body, especially when combined with a healthy diet, exercise, and it will help you shed the fat that we tend to accumulate, which is where estrogen tends to lodge itself and wreak most of its havoc. So this is not something where you're going to go to the gym for 6 weeks and feel better. This is something that is going to have to be a lifelong strategy change. You're going to have to incorporate movement on the regular. It's not just going to be, oh, I'm going to work out for a month and then feel better. You're going to have to do this all the time because we are always being bombarded with hormonal issues, and we always have to be working to expel them from the body. So the last, but very much not the least of the ways that you can really help with your estrogen is to keep your belly bugs happy. So really looking and taking care of that gut microbiome, which is so very important. Making sure that you have as many different varieties and strains of probiotic colonies within the gut, and the small intestine, the large intestine, to help you digest your food, to absorb the nutrients, to protect you against pathogens, pathogenic invaders, and regulate hormone production and expression. So really decreasing your processed foods, your chemical toxins, and other factors that really damage healthy bacteria and compromise digestion is so very helpful, because when you compromise your digestion, you actually leading to a buildup of estrogen in your body. So you want to keep everything nice and happy in your gut, keep those nice happy bugs coming in, because we don't, unless you're taking in a regular prebiotic, um, uh, it's always good to have introduce these probiotics into our diet, because we don't make those on our own. You can take in probiotic foods, but supplements, for the most part, are probably the better solution, and not, and especially if you're really starting out in the beginning, it's not going to be good enough for you just to take in some yogurt, or kefir is a little bit better. But you really want to implement some really good probiotic supplements into your diet to really help balance out, and continually rebalance out that gut. If you were to have a very clean diet, if you were to really reduce and um, decrease and reduce and eliminate all the crazy toxins in your life, the chemical toxins, the ones we put on our skin, the ones we breathe, if you were able to have a very stress-free life, which nobody does, if we were able to eliminate or eradicate all the 5G and EMFs that are circulating, if you're able to eat a very clean diet, like I described above, if you're able to do all of that, then perhaps not taking a probiotic would be okay. But we don't. Um, Within the hundreds of clients that I have seen, maybe one or two might have that lifestyle, and that's it. And these are things that need to be addressed on a daily and for a lifetime to get to where we need to be. So I know that this was probably a lot longer than what I wanted to do these things, but this one was kind of a big one, and I wanted to share more information about it because estrogens are so very important and sometimes the cause of most of our issues. So understanding that is so very important. So if you have any questions, connect with me. If I don't know the answer, I will definitely get to the answer for you or direct you in the right to the right person to get that answer. But this is where we're at with this, and understanding that it's not just a women's problem, but it's a man's problem as well. So, yeah, lots of love. Take care.